My appetite is out of control. Do you have any secrets? That is what I will be talking about today in today's episode. And this is going to be for the women out there that may have noticed that their appetite has increased. And there is research to suggest that during perimenopause, our appetite does increase. But in today's episode, I want to show you that, while yes, our hormones are changing, there are other factors that might be increasing your appetite. So I want to go through those today and then just provide you with some strategies that you can apply to manage the appetite increase that you are noticing. So before I move on, as always, let me know if you are catching this live. If you are, say hello, tell me where you're from, or if you are watching the replay, just put it in the comments below and let me know. That would be fantastic. All right, so the hormone that I am talking about today, the one that drives your appetite, is a hormone called ghrelin. And I first heard of this hormone, I don't know, way back when in my early 30s. I was reading a book by Dr. Oz, and that's how long I've been obsessed with hormones. And he referred to, he was talking about the some of the different hormones that regulate our appetite. So there's ghrelin, which increases appetite, and there's leptin, which decreases appetite, or it doesn't actually decrease appetite. It signals to the brain that we are full. And he referred to ghrelin as gremlin. That was how he was like, you'll remember it by just thinking gremlin, right? Do you remember gremlin? If you're from my generation, you remember gremlin. So that could be just something that you just use to remember what this hormone is. So when it comes to ghrelin, again, this is a hunger hormone. It is one of the hormones that regulate our appetite, and what it does is it increases our appetite. And typically speaking, ghrelin should ebb and flow throughout the day. And so when we eat, ghrelin should come down. When we have not had any food for 4 hours, ghrelin goes up. And you can think of ghrelin as like this little, it's a hormone, so you can think of it as like a little email. I like to think of hormones as little emails. And so the hormone sends a message to your brain that makes you do something. So the message that ghrelin is sending you is eat, right? It's saying, hey, person, go and have some food. That's what ghrelin does. So if ghrelin goes up more than we would like it to, then it increases our hunger, it increases our appetite, it increases our cravings. And this is likely what is happening if you are noticing that your appetite is out of control. Hi, Jane from the UK, and hi, Anush from Montreal. Okay, so let's talk about what increases ghrelin. So as I said, there is evidence that perimenopause naturally increases ghrelin, and that's something to think about and take into account. But there are numerous other things that also increase ghrelin. So a poor diet that is high in processed foods and sugar, sleep deprivation, stress, overtraining, like when you're doing too much exercise, and I'm forgetting one. What is it? Oh, this is the most important one. Well, not the most important, but a very important one. Chronic caloric restriction. So typical diets will increase ghrelin. That is what makes them so hard to maintain, because your body is literally fighting against you. Okay, so those are the different things that can increase ghrelin. So again, it could be just like part of perimenopause, but you do have to look at your nutrition, your lifestyle choices, your exercise choices to see if there is potentially something that you're doing that is also increasing ghrelin. And I want to tell you right now, hi Teresa, I want to tell you also right now that, we have a great deal of control over our hormones. So the choices that we make can drive our hormones up, drive our hormones down. And so what I'm going to do now is basically just give you different strategies that you can try in order to manage ghrelin. So again, if you are noticing that your appetite is out of control and you just can't help yourself, you're constantly in the kitchen snacking on things, or you're overeating or whatever it may be, then these are all strategies that you can try. So the first strategy is really, again, based on your food choices. So you need to build your meals primarily around nutrient-dense foods. Foods that provide vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients, because your body needs these things in order to function properly. And if your body senses that it's deficient in vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, it will drive you to eat in order to get what it needs to function properly. So making sure whole foods, like this is a no-brainer, you know this, like protein, beans and legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, fruit and vegetables, right? These are all things that are going to supply our body with what it needs in order to function properly. And then what we want to do is reduce our intake of hyperpalatable foods. So hyperpalatable foods are basically, it's junk food, right? Like anything that's high in sugar, anything that has been highly refined, anything that's processed essentially is what is considered hyperpalatable. And again, what the research suggests here is that as humans, we were wired to seek out these hyperpalatable foods, which makes sense because our physiology is actually quite primitive. And in way back when we would, in prehistoric times or primitive times, we would have been seeking out these super dense foods to keep us alive. And so there is some belief that when we're eating those foods, the feedback loop that's supposed to happen when you eat and ghrelin goes up, that loop gets distorted when we're eating junk food. Like it just doesn't work properly. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's strategy number one. Strategy number two, I've got my notes so I don't forget here. Okay, strategy number two, this is a really big one. You want to make sure that your meals are super high in both protein and fiber. Protein and fiber, just remember those two, because when we incorporate more protein and more fiber into our meals, we will naturally suppress our appetite. We will naturally suppress ghrelin and keep it lower for a longer period of time, especially protein. Protein is believed to be one of the most satiating macronutrients there is. So I would say 30 grams of protein minimum per meal 3 times a day, and you might even want to consider bumping that up even more with breakfast, because again, a very high breakfast or a very high protein breakfast, it is believed that that will just control ghrelin, that appetite hormone, throughout the rest of the day. So you got to swap out the bagels and the muffins and the cereal and the toast and peanut butter and replace that with plenty of protein with breakfast. It could be a protein shake, it could be eggs, or you could do, like just leftovers. We have to I think revisit what we define as breakfast. Okay, so that's strategy number 2. Strategy number 3, do not overly restrict your calories if you are trying to lose weight, because like I said at the beginning, your body will fight back against you by driving up ghrelin. That is why diets are so hard to maintain, because your body does not like you being in a caloric deficit, even if you want to lose weight. But there are strategies that you can use that will allow you to lose weight without triggering ghrelin. So one of those strategies that I really like and that I use inside my program is calorie cycling. So it just means that you're not doing low calorie or restrictive calorie every single day. You're doing it intermittently so the body doesn't have a chance to catch on and drive ghrelin levels up. The other thing that works well is intermittent fasting as a strategy to shift your body or spend more time in fat burning mode as opposed to fat storing mode. So intermittent fasting, and then finally a low carb approach, especially ketogenic. If you have never tried that and you're really struggling with your With your hunger levels, so what is believed is that when we go into nutritional ketosis and we start to produce something called ketones, and what your body does is it takes fat from either the food that you're eating or from your fat cells, ideally, and it turns it into ketones, which means that your body and those ketones are a source of energy. So it makes sense, if you think about it logically, that if your body is able to take dietary fat or stored fat and convert it into ketones, then your body has fuel. It's not lacking fuel. And so it doesn't need to drive up ghrelin. And what happens, or definitely what happens with me, is if I rely too heavily on carbohydrates, my body loses its ability to convert fat into energy. And so the moment my whatever I ate, whatever energy I just ate, as soon as that goes away, my body is just like ghrelin, get me some more carbs. And so that's one of the reasons I love low carb so much. Is there anything else? I think not. Okay, strategy number 4 is to swap out steady state cardio for short, intense workouts. Steady state cardio is known to drive hunger. Whereas if you can replace that, so instead of doing an hour on the treadmill, you could do like a 20 or 30 minute, it could be like HIIT, like high intensity interval training. It could be burst training. It could be metabolic conditioning. It could be what I do, which I call them human growth hormone chains. So again, they're short, they're intense. They do not drive your appetite or your ghrelin levels the same way that steady state cardio will, which is really, really important, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Okay, strategy number 5, I've got 2 left. Strategy number 5 is to make sleep a priority. So when we are sleep deprived, when we have a bad night, whether it's because we went to bed late or because our body is refusing to cooperate, it's going to drive ghrelin. It's going to increase ghrelin levels. So again, there's research to prove this. So knowing that, we need to make sleep a priority. And again, if you are struggling with insomnia right now because of perimenopause, then I would, talk to your doctor or your naturopath about what you can do. I will tell you right now that going to bed at a regular time every night before 10, getting rid of your computer before you go to bed, doing some stress management before you go to bed, possibly taking some supplements to assist, maybe even bioidentical progesterone. These are all things to talk to your doctor about, but these are all things that can help you improve your sleep, which will naturally help you improve your appetite. And then finally, the last one is stress management. Again, stress drives ghrelin. And think about it, when you're stressed, you want to eat more. Some people, it actually reduces it. But for a lot of women, when they're stressed out, they have this tendency to want to eat more, and that is those increased levels of ghrelin. And so incorporating more stress management into your life, it can be meditation. It could be just like a nice long walk in nature, or, a mani-pedi, some self-care, whatever you need to do to manage your stress. So there you have it. Let me just recap those strategies very quickly. So strategy number 1, work on your nutrition. Less junk food, more whole food. Strategy number 2, make sure that all of your meals have lots of protein and lots of fiber. Strategy number 3, do not overly restrict your calories every single day if you're trying to lose weight. Strategy number 4, what is strategy? Swap out that steady state cardio for short, intense workouts. Strategy number 5, make sleep a priority. And strategy number 6, practice stress management. And all of those things will help you to control your appetite. So right now in the comments, which of those strategies do you think you should or could implement in order to control your appetite, in order to control that hunger hormone ghrelin? So you can put that in the comments, one of the strategies that you think you'd like to implement, because it's really, really important that when you're listening to my episodes, you're not just gathering information, you are actually implementing the information, because if not, it is not going to benefit you. So there you have it. Give me a thumbs up or a heart in the comments if you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all again tomorrow. And tomorrow, just as a last FYI, I am doing a big workshop, a free workshop inside my group all about carb cycling and how I use it to manage my weight as well as to keep my hormones running smoothly. So if you'd like to participate in that and you're not yet in the group, put a comment right now that says link to group and I will hook you up. Have a wonderful day and I will see you soon. Bye.